survey to Cindy, please do. Any questions on how to get home or anything like that?
We haven't had that much to drink yet.
Okay, good, good. Well, not today, but yes. Okay. Okay. Well, you all know by now our next speaker from thus far in the conference, but Harri Lorenzi has the publisher and the author of many, many fascinating books. And long before I knew Harri through the books I had in Portuguese. And with a dictionary and a lot of patience and word by word, I've studied a lot of the fascinating trees. And if you haven't seen any of Harri's previous books, they're just magnificent. Pictures of the full tree, the fruit and flowers and leaves, and the wood, and it's just fabulous. So today, though, Harri does have that excellent fruit book, and it is without doubt the best fruit book coming along in a number of years. So if you haven't gotten one, now's the best chance. Okay, so Harri, another Fruits of Brazil. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be here today. I'd like to thank Chris and the organizing committee of this conference for the invitation. And I hope I'll be able to bring some new things to you. Okay? So, before it's too late, let's get started. I would like to start saying a little bit about our organization. We are a private organization called Instituto Plantaro, as you can see here. I started 30 years ago, collecting, doing expedition all over the country in order to study our plants. It's located in southeastern part of Brazil, in a small town called Nova Odessa. I am agronomist as a profession with a background on botany. So I'd like to show where we are. I don't have any pointing device, but they know state of São Paulo is this purple down there. Yep. Right here, we are located 140 kilometers from São Paulo inland, westward. Okay? So we are located here, and we do expeditions all over the country for the last 30 years. Even though we are located in a very, in an extreme part of the country, it's a large country. So it's 8.6 million square kilometers, just about the size of the continent of the USA and China. And everything is very far, so that's the difficulty of studying plants in Brazil. But though I've been traveling a lot for the last 30 years, we haven't been in many places yet, especially in some parts of Amazon where everything is difficult because there is no roads. Most of this part here is just forest. Even though we have been in many places in those areas. So just to have an idea, to fly from São Paulo to this part here is 6 hours jet flight. It's 3.5, 4 hours up to this point, 3.5 hours to this point, 4 hours to Manaus. It's probably 4.5 hours to Rio Branco. So it's all very far, and also very expensive. So I have been doing this with our own expenses, thanks to all of you that has been buying our books, and we survive only on the sales of our books. We don't have any other source of income. Okay, let's start. Promising groups. I'd like to talk first of all. The plants that we're going to present today are not in this book that you just put out, because Chris asked me to talk about little known species, fruit species. So I decided not to include anyone that's already in the book. So I have a list of 300 new species that are not in the book yet. And I also would like to say what I consider fruit. In fact, when we wrote this book, fruit book, we had a hard time defining what's really fruit. Not, for not be confused with legume or vegetable fruits that people eat. Because botanically speaking, not all fruit that we consider edible fruit are really, botanically speaking, fruit. So fortunately in the Portuguese language you have a word to designate this. You call fruta and the fruto. Fruto means the botanically speaking fruit, because not all botanically speaking fruits could be considered a fruta. So I gave the definition to the Portuguese dictionary. So the same definition we use for this book, only fruits, botanically speaking, that you can eat in natura. Okay? So if it requires any cooking, any preparation, we do not consider fruit in this sense. So with this definition in head, we published this book. And now the same thing. We consider here only fruits that are edible in natura. The Brazilian flora is around 55,000 species. So far known, because we estimate probably have more 15,000 non-described species in Brazil yet to be discovered. And we consider so far 700 species of fruit species. In the book there are 308 and 320, and we have plus 350 or a little bit more. So far we consider 700 species that are really native to Brazil. Okay? Of course, some of them could be found in neighboring countries. The most promising groups are Myrtaceae with around 150 species so far known. Okay? Because this is a great family, great group of species. Sapotaceae is the second most important one, with approximately 50 species so far known as good fruit, edible in natura. Lorenzi probably have 40 or probably a little bit more. And Chrysopoloniaceae is also a promising group, probably with 20 or more species so far known. Okay? Let's get started with some groups, starting with the Anacardiaceae. We won't be able to show all of them, so let's show just some of each group. Polparty amazonica is the Anacardiaceae, the same group of spondias, and of course the cashew plants. We have many cashew species, not just the Anacardium occidentale that everybody knows, but we have some big trees, not just along the seashore, but also in the forest, in the jungle. Big trees, they are Anacardium or cashew. Big fruits, small fruits, all sizes, all colors, all types. And this Polparty amazonica is more related to the spondias group. Okay? A large tree. In the Anonaceae, we have quite a bit of species. This is the Anona cornifolia, as a red, very nice small fruit, it's not really big. You know, this scale is 1 centimeter scale. So we could have an idea of the size of the fruit. Another one is Anona dioica. We have quite a bit of shrubby Anonaceae, usually with fairly large fruit and normally very good ones. This one is probably one of the best, but unfortunately we lost all the images for the last time we could find this plant in the wild, Anona pretorum. It's considered one of the best, but unfortunately we lost all because we monitored this species for a long time until we could really get in the fruiting stage. But unfortunately we had an accident and we lost all the images, so probably next year or next 2 years we'll find again. A nice tree, grows in a semi-arid region in the central part of the country. Rollinia is another group in this family that there are quite a bit of species. Rollinia rugulosa. One of the taxonomies on this group lump together most of the Rollinia, but in fact they are really different, completely different. So we do not consider Salicifolia, Emarginata, Who lost the same species as this guy did. So we consider separate because they are quite different, especially this one that has the pulp comes off very easily from the seeds. And most of the salicifolia and the marginata doesn't do that. It's a fairly medium-sized tree. And the Apocynaceae group, so Apocynaceae family is another promising group of potential fruit. In the book, we present Poma utilis, a small one, very popular in the central Amazon. But there are others, probably better, but probably not as much productive. So that's the reason it's not so popular, probably, or probably is not much known. Poma macrocarpa is a larger fruit, as you can see, about almost 10 centimeters in diameter. It's a large tree also. It's very delicious. I like particularly this group, this type of fruit. It, of course, it's a little bit sticky and the lactase. Another one that grows not outside of Amazon completely, on the seashore and also in the high elevation areas. They consider, taxonomists consider the same species, but I don't know, probably could be a different species. It's called Poma rigida, large fruits also, very good in fact, but hardly known because people, it grows in a very strict area, and only the people from that region. I got it. Okay, sorry about that. I'm not much familiar with this high technology communication system. Okay, well, so Poma wood is the one that we presented in the book. It's much smaller and reddish color. Well, Cordia superba, it's not really that nice, but there's one specific region where the people like to eat. So, it's a fairly medium-sized tree that's cultivated over here in Florida, but probably not as for its fruits. This Crateva, we have one species already presented in the book, Crateva tapia, and this is Crateva bentame from Amazonic region. It's large fruit, and I would say much better in taste. But of course, it's non-cultivated and not much known, except for the locals. And the Cactaceae family, there are quite a bit of species in this group, and I particularly decided to illustrate this group with this species because it's good, because it doesn't have any spine in the fruits, and it's really good. I would say I'm presenting some other species of this genus in the book. Large fruits, usually colorful, but this one I think it's one of the best. Yeah. It's basically from southern part of Brazil. The Cariocareaceae family, we have probably 7 or 8 species. The people from north part of Brazil, they love to eat this fruit. I don't know. This is not from north. It's from eastern part of the country. I particularly don't like much, but they do. You find this in popular fairs in most of northern part of the country, and they consider a fruit. So that's the reason it's here. Carioca. We have many, 5 or 6 species. Oh, this one in this family, Celastraceae, there are quite a bit of fruit of different species. I don't know, but probably there are about 10 or 15 species in 4 or 5 genus that are fairly good. It depends on each one. Caloclanium glacial, we have 3 or 4 Caloclanium. Oh, this is a new species, it's not described yet, but I decided to present it because it's got a larger, much larger fruit than the regular Salacia. We have all these Salacias. This is from eastern part of the country, close to the seashore, in a very sandy area like this is a vine, and the fruit are really big. It's better than Salacia elliptica, I would say. If somebody knows. Everybody knows. Well, the Chrysobalanense is a very promising group. This species, it's in the book, probably the only one I'm illustrating here because I consider very promising for commercial use, future commercial use. Is the Pajurá, we call Pajurá from the Amazon, Coeptia brachiosa. It's really delicious. I would like to show a little bit more about this, and probably very soon you. Something going on? Okay. That's the flower. That's the fruit. It's really, I consider very delicious and a very thick pulp like this. Yes. So when the fruits get ripe, it pops up like this, and you can eat almost, except the seed, but everything else you can eat. It's a little bit, let's say, fatty probably. We don't know. We don't have much information about this nutritional value, but it looks nice. Okay, Coeptia paraensis is another species of this group with a completely different flavor, but somewhat the same texture of the fruit. Fruits are not as big as the Pajurá. Pajurá gets that big, sometimes 1 kilo weight, and this is very promising too. You find if you go in the central part of Amazon, you find this very often in the popular feiras. The same group of Chrysobalanense, we have another genus that has some species with some potential use as fruit, edible fruit, naturally in natura. Hirtella is this species. In the leguminous family, of course, the main group here are the Inga. The Inga is very popular in the tropical areas of South America because it's sweet. They eat the pulp of those seeds. The most popular one is Inga edulis, long pods like this, lose very easily the pulp from the seed, and this does somewhat the same, but it's a little bit different on the shape of the pods. And it's just as good as Inga edulis. And there are many other species in this group. I'm not going to present all of them. In the Ovidiaceae family, there are 4 or 5 species. I particularly don't like the fruits. This is a typical Amazonian habit. People like to, it's not chewing, but it's like, let's say, they grab the fruit and keeps biting, and it doesn't come from, there are not much pulp to it, but it looks like a very interesting thing for them because they do very often. They sell these fruits in all public fairs. This particular species, this genus Duquesia, has got much more pulp to it, but the others, usually Sacoglots, for instance, doesn't have much pulp. But the people love it. I don't know what they get from that. Probably it's a kind of a stimulant sort of fruit. No. Okay, Strychnos. Strychnos usually is a group of toxic plants, but this is delicious. It's from the central Amazon also. Not much known. but very delicious. Yeah, it's not also big, it's about 4 or 5 centimeters long.
Vine or tree?
That particular one is a kind of a scudded type of tree or plant. In the Monvase family, we have, of course, I'm considering over here the APG2 approach of botanical families. So the Striculiaceae are all in the Monvase family now, not just the Striculiaceae, but also Tiliaceae and Lobaceae that are all in the Monvase family. Because I'm using over here the APG2 approach, the same thing as the book. Okay. So it's a close relative of cocoa. Okay, in the family Melastomataceae, we have quite a bit of interesting potential fruit plants, like the Clidemia. It's like the blueberry. It's very tiny seeds. You can swallow it, don't throw it, and it's kind of a kids type of fruit. Kids love to eat. This genus Euryethia, it's got a little bit larger fruit, and also just as sweet. It's not, it's not sold in markets, but people love to eat around the world, everywhere they find. Okay, on the Muriri family, Muriri genus, there are quite a bit of the species in this genus, and most of them are very good. Especially this one is very popular in the eastern Amazon. Muriri apiranga, they call apiranga. The yellow fruit, not big, but very good. Okay, this Muriri doesn't have any name yet, but I decided to put here to present you because it's really delicious. Probably one of the best. And they're also larger than the regular Muriri. One other thing I'd like to say, we have many species, good potential for fruit use, but that you don't know the name yet. Especially in the Sapotes family, probably more than 20 species we don't have them because nobody studies this group today, and it's very difficult to identify. There are lots of the species, especially in the central Amazon. Okay, so to avoid any doubt, I didn't put any non-identified species here. But I would like them later on to leave this list for Chris if he wants to distribute. Feel free to do so. Muriri guianensis, another species, a little bit astringent, but people grow it and they eat it. Also from the Amazonia. Polygalaceae. Polygalaceae, there are quite a bit of species also in this group, especially in Diclydanther we have 3 or 4 species with small like this and some large fruits. They say it's a climbing jabuticaba. That's the name we do over there, because usually they are vines. Okay, in this group of Moltabia, Shodatiana, there are 3 or 4 species. They are really good. One of the best. And they're very potential for growing for future as a fruit. You know, they call all. There's some very funny names in Portuguese: Cogote, Guariba. It's very much appreciated in the central Amazonic region. The species, especially Montabia sholatiana. Okay, Myrtaceae. I'm presenting in alphabetical order all the families. The Myrtaceae family is really large in Brazil. Lots of the species. I don't know how many, but we estimate more than 150 species of good fruit. Okay? So in the family, there are just three main genus in this family that are most promising. Campomanesia is the group that we call, they produce a fruit that we call guabiroba, guabiraba, some Indian names. Very good ones. This one was considered extinct for some time, and now we found, and it's got one of the largest fruit. There's some larger than that, but this is very big. Campomanesia hirsuta is from mountainous area close to Rio de Janeiro and Espírito Santo. Campomanesia hirsuta up to 10 centimeters diameter. So it's a little bit sour, but very good for juice and also for eating as jelly or whatever. There's another one, another Campomanesia laurifolia, much sweeter than that one, but smaller fruit. In the book, there are already probably 5 or so species of Campomanesia. This Campomanesia is not discarded, but they decided to present anyway because we are in the process of discarding. It's from Espírito Santo and probably one of the largest fruits. Not as sour as the hirsuta species, but it's very good. It produces in 2 years, it grows very fast, and in probably a little bit more than 3 years, we already having high production. And I consider it very promising, especially for this type of for making juice and other jelly, whatever. So I think that's very promising. Okay, the next genus, promising genus is the Eugenia. I would like to say a word on Campomanesia. There's one species already in the book they call lineatifolia, and probably somebody already know. Also produces large fruits, but that one is from central Amazon, western Amazon in fact. They call guabiraba. It's very good because it's much sweeter than the regular hirsuta and the others. So if you eventually come across with these lineatifolia, that's good. Okay? Eugenia angustissima, very small fruits but very nice. Eugenia matose, it's not, well, I wouldn't say it's poorly known or little known. In fact, this is a kind of an ornamental shrub. And I didn't put in the book because I considered the fruits too small, but now we found this new form that we found in the wild with much larger fruit and much sweeter also. And probably some of you already saw this species as ornamental probably. So the Eugenia matose is, I consider a promising shrubby, very good, very nice ornamental shrub. Okay, Eugenia monosperma, this large fruit, very nice, very beautiful, with a little bit of astringency, but with thick pulp. I would say is potentially very interesting because the fruits looks very bright, very nice, like a big let's say. There are quite a bit of fruits with this shape, but this is, I consider very promising. Okay, there's this species, it's in the book. I told you I wouldn't present anyone, but I present 2 species of the book in this presentation here. Eugenia patrizi, I decided just to show here, to illustrate the group of Eugenia, because it's very beautiful. It's red, very bright, very nice, and also very good. I don't know if anybody knows, but it's from eastern Amazon, western Amazon. The other Eugenia that I think is good is one from south, very south, deep south of Brazil, is Eugenia rostrifolia. It's a nice ornamental tree with very good fruit. Not very big, but very, very delicious. Okay? So Eugenia rustifolia is also, I consider myself as promising. Eugenia sulcata is from the beaches, sand dunes along the seashore in the eastern part of the country. The fruits are small, but the tree is nice, and the fruits are very delicious. Okay? The pulp comes off very easily from the seeds. What's interesting in the fruit, and in fact, most of the Eugenia species have loose seeds, so it's easy to separate the pulp. And also the skin is very thin. Okay, I would like to open parentheses here to tell a little bit about the jabuticabas. Now, jabuticabas is one of the first cultivated fruit, Brazilian native fruit in Brazil. Since the beginning of the colonization, it's been around in all houses, all backyards. So, for this reason, most of the species that we have today described were described from cultivated plants. That's a big problem. So the taxonomy, it's a mess right now. So we don't know the habitat of any one of these species, except probably Cruciflora and probably two or three species we know the natural habitat. So we decided to. This is a natural population. It grows like a weed. You know, all those trees that you see all over are spontaneous jabuticaba, Mircea jabuticaba. That's one species. Most of the species that people grow, they always call Mircea cauliflora. In fact, if you look at the various specimens in all herbariums in Brazil, they always put Mircea cauliflora. Even the taxonomists, because they don't know anything about it. And also, the collectors usually do not collect because it's very difficult. The flowers are stuck on the branches, on the stems, and it's difficult to cut a big branch and press and take to the herbarium. So they usually do not collect. Same thing with the fruit, because the fruit is soft, so usually you don't see much herbarium material of the jabuticaba species. So we decided to try to understand this group. So in the book we presented probably 8 species, but according to what is known today, okay. So we decided to look for the natural habitat of all these species. So we started 3 years ago collecting material for DNA in order to do a phylogenetic study. So far we collected probably 70 different types of jabuticaba. Of course, we separated in the species according to what we know currently on the description of each species. But it's hard to know exactly which is which, because the type specimens are almost all destroyed. They were described in the 1700s, 1800s, and you know, we almost can't see anything in the environment, just a leaf or a branch or nothing else. So since we don't know the natural habitat, the type of locality of all these species, it's very difficult to trace back these species, to know exactly which is which. So we started doing this some 3 years ago. You know, due to this, we also have another problem. Most of the first jabuticaba was described in Bolivia a long time ago, in the genus Vapurium peruvianum. And after that, they found another one in Bolivia, and all the others in the Brazilian territory. But we think the Bolivian species are somewhat the same as the Brazilian ones, because we are close to it. So somebody came after that and they put the Brazilian species in the Mirciaria genus. And they very recently, one taxonomist decided to separate the jabuticaba from the rest of the Mirciarias. He called this group of Plinia. But before we published the book, we hired this guy and for a consultation. You know, in order to not publish anything, any wrong thing. So we asked him what we should do, because everybody some call Mirciaria, others call Plinia. So I asked him to sign down which name you should use for the jabuticaba. He said, okay, keep using Mirciaria, even though he proposed Plinia. So we use Mirciaria, that's the reason. And only left in Plinia some that were described in Plinia and doesn't have any combination with the genus Mirciaria. Now we start doing the first analysis of our phylogenetic study, even though we didn't finish collecting samples. And it looks that the jabuticabas are coming separated from as a separated group as the rest of the Mirciaria. So probably Plinia could be a good name. The problem is, if this group, the jabuticaba group, is the same as the original collection of description in Bolivia, we have to change everything to Guapurium, the first genus described. But unfortunately, we couldn't be able so far to collect this original. I went to Bolivia, but I couldn't find this original species. That was described as Guapurium peruvianum. So we expect to go back. Now we trace the location somewhat, in order to put these species also in the analysis. And if it does comes in the same group of our Plinias or jabuticabas, we have to switch all the genus of the jabuticaba. So that's really so far we kept jabuticaba in the Mirciaria genus. But of course there are lots of other Mirciarias that don't look like the regular jabuticabas. Okay, it's also a population. All those, usually they are small trees, but there are some big ones. There are probably 7 or 8 species so far described, and you can separate them by the shape by the architecture of the tree, by the fruit, and they also by some specific characters like the flowers and the leaves. Okay, this is in the state of Goiás, Mirciaria jabuticaba. Okay, Mirciaria cauliflora. Mirciaria jabuticaba usually has small fruit. Usually very thin skin and very sweet usually. On the contrary, but of course there are many forms. The people call different names in each region. So we have at least 5 or 6 natural forms of Mirciaria jabuticaba. The first one we show. Okay? We have the Samará, we have the different names, different plants that can be separate. Look, if you know very much the group, you can tell the difference. Mirciaria cauliflora, on the contrary, is quite large. This is the largest one. It can get up to 7 centimeters diameter. And usually the skin is very thick, and the fruit are a little bit sour. Sweet, but also sour, but not really. We have one species that is completely sour, so brongata. And most of the species don't have any peduncle. It's almost attached directly to the trunk. There's just one called Mirciaria trucifolia, but long peduncle, like up to 5 centimeters long. We'll see along the way. Okay? So Mirciaria cauliflora is we have called white jabuticaba. It's not really white, it's green, but we call white jabuticaba. So it's in Mirciaria aureana. The problem is, we start seeing Mirciaria aureana with red fruit. Because what separates the species is those lines along the, especially when it's not completely ripe. It's kind of a ribbed fruit. And this is very sweet, doesn't have any sour whatsoever, any acidity. So Mirciaria aureana. So it can be red or white. This is Mirciaria filtranta. Usually is red, okay? But this is larger than the regular, so we can separate easily, especially from the leaves. And also a tree is a large tree. And Mirciaria aureana is always a shrub, not more than 2 or 3 meters high. So Mirciaria filtranta is another one described. So we could trace back to know where it comes from. The problem also is that we found now Mirciaria filtranta with white skin, green or green with white skin. So probably there is some confusion in the group, but we can have also filtranta with white skin. Okay? And most of them are red like this. This is on the Mirciaria coronata species. Coronata means crown, like a queen, because it's got this crown over here on the end of the fruit. So that's the reason it's called coronata. We found already also this species in the wild. The things are becoming easy to understand, because so far all the books say origin unknown. Okay? Even I wrote this from some species. Okay? So this is coronata. There's always this reddish, this greenish part and some stripes. Sometimes it's completely black or a little bit reddish. Okay? So this is coronata, another species of it. Okay. Remember I told you this is a Druciflora group. Always got the long peduncle like this, or pedicel as it's called. We have reddish fruit, black fruits, not white, never white. Okay? So that's easy to spot because it's mainly from southern part of Brazil, some high elevation in the southeastern part. Okay? Usually larger trees, probably 10 or more meters high. Very cold resistant species. Okay, inside of the Mirciaria genus, we have some other plants that doesn't look like regular jabuticabas, like the Mirciaria pliniumidis from south. Very sweet, very good, but the fruit comes in 10 branches, not in the trunk. This is another Mirciaria that's not in the book also. It's got a little bit velvety fruit, as you can see here. It's a Spiritus Santense, and the only one that we know that we have a type of specimen and you know the type of locality. All the others, we don't know anything because it was lost. Okay? Fruit is always on the trunk. Another Mirciaria that's not a jabuticaba is this Mirciaria stringips from the Espírito Santo. Also, the fruit are on the branches, 10 branches, and the fruit are very sweet. Very good also. In this process of searching for the jabuticaba species, we found probably 3 new species, or potentially 3 new species, completely different, like this one from Minas Gerais. There are quite differences in this plant that you could consider a separate species, but of course, after the phylogenetic analysis, you'll be able to tell if it's really a good species. It's got this star-shaped sepal on the mature fruit. This is a shrubby jabuticaba, probably no more than 70 centimeters high. This was described in the genus Plinia, and we don't have any combination for Mirciaria, so we kept it in Plinia. And then probably you'll come together in the same group of the other jabuticaba because it's very similar in taste and everything. But it grows in high elevation in southeastern part of the country, and the plant is very small, so it's very interesting for growing because it's small. All the others characteristics are similar to jabuticaba. The other group, very promising in the Mucidae family, besides Campomanese, Eugenia, and the Myrciaria or Polinia, is Psidium, the Guajava genus. There are quite a bit of species, more or less related to guava. Okay, Psidium. So this is Psidium oblongata, very large, a little bit sour, but also sweet. So it's nice, big seeds, and potentially interesting as a fruit. This is more related to Psidium cattleyana, Psidium litorale, that's the same thing. They call Psidium longipetiolatum. It's got a long folio. I don't know if you are familiar with Psidium acutangulum. Psidium litorale or Psidium. You know, they look alike, except the fruit is quite different in taste, but we've got some similarities with the regular Psidium litorale or Psidium. Another Psidium, not so good, but say Psidium oligospermum. So shrubby, I particularly like shrubby types of fruit trees because they can grow in limited space, and people like it because it can be considered also ornamental. So this is one of those Psidium oligospermum. Psidium, new species, we don't know